with AI. I'm here with Nico and George. How you fellas doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Another day, another story of AI.
Yeah, I'm ready to get people to wake up. See, I
There we
got
go.
ready, guys. After the fail on the last one, I'm like, let's do it. We're gonna get a robot voice. We're gonna rock it out.
I love it. I
It's
love it. I still need to bust out the one, the soundboard that I got over the weekend. Thank you, HubSpot.
There you go.
Product gift cards. Um,
We
pays to
love
give
free
feedback,
tech.
folks. Pays to give feedback. Uh, let's dive in. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so I will probably be ceding to you guys to do most of the talking. But Nico, give me some news about something that is never going to be under the weather.
well, something awesome that is never going to be under the weather is a new AI device that you can use in order to take a picture of your tongue, and it can tell you medically what might be wrong with you. Okay. And it's really like it's something else. Because me and George were talking about it this morning, and what's awesome is that it's something that is like the method of how it's doing the detection is actually a 2,000-year-old methodology that was used by Chinese medicine
It's
practitioners.
crazy.
Right. But now we have that's the thing. So if you think about it, it's like 2,000-year-old practitioners, and the reason that it was so specified was because only those people knew it. A very closed world of intelligence. And now we have this vast world of intelligence. And we have this tool that can narrow it all down and bring it back all down and boil it down to the pinpoint. So it's, to me, it's another aspect of AI that is, again, if this stuff is going to shake up every industry that it touches. And I think this is just medical is one of them that's going to get hit harder than most people expect, because of the fact that a lot of medicine starts with what? Starts with finding out symptoms, starts with diagnosis, right? The more accurate the diagnosis, the easier and faster the treatment. So if the diagnosis is there in a second, if the suggestion for the treatment is there in a second, and the only thing that's necessary is the doctor's approval, right? Then, it gets a little bit boring to be a doctor, perhaps, because you're sitting behind a desk just checking off, checking off whether or not a diagnosis is correct. But that ends up being the case, right? So what's awesome about it, though, is that from an end user perspective, they're actually looking at now it's in a handheld scanner and it's used by practitioners, but pretty soon they're looking to put it in your phone. Your phone,
Yeah.
and this was something that was hit on by Apple a little bit. It's something that was really hit on by a lot of AI enthusiasts pretty early on. It was talked about a lot during MACOM last year, which is the fact that your phone is going to become so crucial as far as an AI assistant goes. It's actually going to be like you're going to rely on it even more than you do now. I mean, people talk about the fact of like, oh, I can't remember this, I can't remember that. But at the same time, your phone is an extension of your memory. And that's
Yeah.
why it's sort of like, okay, I don't necessarily have to remember these things because I keep them in this offsite storage, right? Um, and now it's going to be offsite storage that actually is able to talk back to you and actually able to read back to you and converse back with you. And the fact that you're going to be able to, again, like just show it your face, show it your tongue, oh, I have this spot on my neck, like what's that all about, right? And imagine like, okay, so I want to put this, there's actually two stories. I thought I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it because they kind of both merge into the same thing, so just bear with me.
I love that you're
Met,
doing it. I love that you're doing it. I know where you're
um,
going.
okay. Meta released, well, didn't release, but they talked about and they demoed their new augmented reality glasses. And what was really interesting is not so much the augmented reality glasses, but the fact that within days of just putting them out there for devs, there were some students that got a hold of it. Let me look really quick while I'm talking about it. Some students got a hold of the glasses, and they were able to put a heads-up display that used like Wikipedia and like other public sources in order to actually pull up. Think of all those sci-fi shows. Think of all those sci-fi movies you've ever seen. You're walking towards somebody, the camera detects them and starts pulling up little
Oh
profiles.
man.
Hey, this is who
Oh,
this is. Here's
oh,
where they work. This is what they do.
I got
Right?
excited. I got excited. Nico, I got to jump in for a second. I want you to keep going on this. But when I saw that piece of news, I thought
Marvel
about
Studios.
Chris and I thought about myself and I thought about a conversation that we're having at Inbound around when people come up to you that know you, but you don't really know if you know them. Imagine a world where your glasses are, this is Bob Johnson. He follows you
Yep.
on LinkedIn and Twitter. You have actually engaged with him 17 times. And you can be like, hey, Bob, dude, how you been?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
as a speaker, as a thought leader or influencer or like video creator or whatever you are, a podcaster, imagine having these glasses that nobody even knew that they were like these special glasses, but you just intimately knew the audience or humans that were going to interact with you in real world. Now,
Mhm.
again, I'm going pure good side of this because there was another side of me that was like, ooh,
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I brought it up is because like I see this marriage, right? Where your phone is doing the data processing and it's also your assistant, but now maybe you have these glasses and the two are married. So now there's this extra sensory, you could say, perception. And I think about future generations and the fact that they might grow up with all of this tech around them and imagine what it would be like to have your assistant tell you, like, hey, man, I've been noticing when you look in, I don't know if you have, when you look in the mirror, but just over the last few months, kind of gaining a little bit of weight. And like, maybe we should work on that a little bit, right? Like, because it's seeing you all the time and it's making these visual incremental measurements and storing that in memory, right? Or maybe it's seeing something change in your face or seeing something change about you, changing about your gait or your walk, anything. Like, yeah, you have this like constant sort of medical monitor, sort of like keeps you actively healthy, so to speak. But in terms of like the identification thing with marketing, it's what I love about that is, imagine you're on one side of the center and I'm on the other side of the center. And I just click this button, and all of a sudden, out of everybody's names that pop up, there's this little bing, bing, bing. And that's, hey, the guy you're
yeah.
looking for is right over here. Right. Um,
Here's
it's
I would have
very
I would have
to
cool.
found
jump
so many
back
more
in.
people at
I
Inbound
dive into
this
it.
year.
That's the thing. I want to jump back in though because I actually would use an app that like when I take a selfie, it says eat a salad. Like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
thanks. I will.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
does a health assessment for you. I mean, how many people think about it? How many people want to get the health assessment,
Yeah.
but don't want the judgment of the doctor,
Or can't
right?
afford it.
Or can't afford it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like most people I know, they wish that they could go to the doctor. I mean, that was a perfect nail on the head. They wish that they could afford doctor's appointments, or they wish they could afford medical scans that they need, but they can't.
Yeah.
One of the not gonna lie, uh, per my GPT investor, one of my stocks that I'm invested in is actually, it's called Butterfly, and it is the first handheld ultrasound scanner with
Oh.
AI technology to help diagnose what's happening with the scan. And it is groundbreaking in terms of, not only is it handheld, it plugs into your phone. So your phone is the screen.
Yeah.
You want to talk about saving money and being able to like bring medical into your home? We're getting to the point where we're actually getting to the point of France. This is weird that we as technology, it goes to everything you were saying before about like we're getting technologically advanced so that we can use older methods of doing stuff
Yeah.
more efficiently,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to get to where France is, where we're able to actually have doctors go and do house calls because of the fact that we have all these mobile devices, all of these detection devices, and either they're doing house calls to people who don't have the technology and don't have the means to do it, they're bringing it to them, or you're at home. My wife was able to get medical care just over her phone, right? All she had to do is take a picture of her face, send it to the doctor, right? and they do an analysis there. So, it's especially, because it was dermatology. So
Yeah.
they have all these scans of all these people's faces and what all this stuff looks like.
What it means.
The guesswork is gone, man. And I love it. I love it so much. There's actually, I don't really need to keep bringing all of the stories. This one just represents one of many in terms of like detection methods using AI. Another one that I thought was great was an AI model that still I don't know why. There's a lot of underlying reasons why these things haven't hit market yet, but there is another AI model that can detect whether or not you have diabetes just by a scan of your eye. And I think they actually created another model to do the same just by the sound of your voice. No, I'm sorry. It was diabetes by the sound of your voice. It was autism by taking a picture of your eye.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Pharmaceuticals.
the phone. We're talking about phone technology. We're not
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like this is in a lab and you have to go to a specialized lab in order to get this done. No, this is being done on your phone.
See, there's a couple things that are coming to my brain. One, I want to circle back around to the thing of, because we were talking in Slack before the show, because I want to give the listeners context of, I literally said to the first news piece that Nico brought is like, this just proves that nothing is new. And it's a 2,000-year-old Chinese practice, but it's something old, but in a new way. It's something old, but in a way that is open and expanded. And that's the thing that you're talking about on all of these things is it's old things in new ways, but an expanded mindset, expanded reach, right? Yeah. And the other thing that it's funny because you're talking about your phone and you're talking about wearables, and there's this piece that people have a disconnect when it comes to this whole AI thing, and that's when they start to show like robots and artificial intelligence and people thinking about like, oh, I'll never have one of those in my home because like that's the movies. Sorry, but you will have one in your home. It's your phone. It's a robot. It is artificial intelligence. Guess what? You're going to get a pair of wearables. Guess what? You've become part of the robot because you're wearing the thing that is actually attached to the artificial intelligence. And see, here's the thing, like you don't see it that way. Therefore it's not that way, but it is that way. And so like this whole thing of like, there's nothing new, but new ways to do it. And this idea of easing into a new reality, a new understanding, new ways to communicate, new ways to get medical, new ways to teach. Like that's why I'm so passionate about this show and the topics that we bring up. Because dang on it, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm going to say? You know what I'm going to say? Wake up!
Oh man. Yeah. I can't really like, I can only second it because of the fact that this is the path. This is the path forward.
Yeah.
And this is
don't fight it.
No.
Yeah.
This is what all of this has been meant to bring about. And actually I shared a stat with the guys this morning that came from OpenAI. If you were at Inbound, you saw it, but if not, it showed where AI is being used most currently. And like, and not necessarily for what purpose, but just like what industries it's being used in the most. And marketing took the cake. I mean, like way up there. Okay.
We are some early adopters, bro. Marketers are early adopters.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, like more than anything else, content, right? Content creation and content iteration makes perfect sense because of the fact that that's like the number one, I don't know, that's actually, it's hand in hand, right? It's like content is half of it. And then the other half of it is CRM management. Right. And then, yeah, of course, sales.
Communication.
Yes.
It's all about communication and it's happening everywhere. So this should make that easier. I've got something, but I think I'm going to save it for the close.
Okay.
George, if we're trying to get people to wake up with AI, what is mindset number 3?
Yeah.
To help them do that.
Yeah, the skills that you need to pay the bills, ladies and gentlemen, in a age of AI that we're moving into. Today, I want to talk about something that's super close to my heart. I even go back to like when I started in agency life in design. I had this buddy of mine. His name's Eric Jacobs, and he was my mentor for design. And he would talk about how he just loved to get a piece of paper out and he loved to sketch and he loved a concept on a sketch pad with a pencil. And sweet, dude. Like, okay, I'll do it if that's what you think I should do. But I'm a creative human. I love building things. So creativity, right? That's what I want to talk about today. And I know that there's people out there that might be thinking, George, come on now. How can AI, this super logical, this data-driven machine, help with something as fluid as human creativity? Hey, you know what? I get it. I get why there might be that disconnect. And I had the same thoughts when I first started dabbling with AI. I'm like, this is probably like a clunky tin can, like the Tin Man on Wizard of Oz. Like, but here's the deal. AI isn't here to replace your creativity. It's here to supercharge it. And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, and this is coming off the backbone of like, I was nerding out in our Slack channel about this program that I will talk about at a later date, not today, that I was like, oh my God, like it will supercharge it, supercharge it. Yes, that's all capital letters in the way that I'm saying it right now on this podcast. And so let me give you a quick story. Like back when I was deep in the trenches of content creation, in old school, before AI, there were days when the ideas just were not flowing, right? And we've all been there. We're just looking at like a computer screen or a sketch pad in Eric's case, and you're like, we're hoping, we're praying that inspiration will magically appear. Spoiler alert, inspiration doesn't always work like that. You just sit there and you're like, okay, maybe I'll take a walk in the park or get a sip of coffee. However, the new world that we're moving into, that we're in right now with AI, we've got a secret weapon in our creative toolkit. If you think about it and you use it in the right way, trust me, this is where things get exciting. Writer's block, dead. Ideation, simplified. Concepting, streamlined. Imagine you're working on a new campaign and you need something fresh, something that pops, as the young kids say. And instead of starting from scratch, what if you could bounce ideas off of an AI assistant? It's like having an assistant who never runs out of suggestions, never runs out of ideas. Sure, some of them might be poop emojis, but some of them might inspire your brain to go in directions that you never. AI tools like ChatGPT, for example, can help brainstorm ideas, refine messaging, and even generate headline options when the brain's tapped out. By the way, I mentioned ChatGPT, but this other tool, this is a completely different tool, and it was mind-blowing to the things that I could do with that tool. I am teasing for a future episode to talk about this tool that I want to share with all of you, and I'm doing it on purpose. But here's the thing. It's not taking your job. It's helping you break through those creative roadblocks. One of the ways I've personally used AI to up my creative game is by feeding it the rough idea. I know this probably sounds like it sucks, but because you're not a human and you won't judge me, here's the pile of turd that is in my brain. Can we like massage it into something that it is and get it to look at it at different angles? Okay. So it's kind of a rough idea, but what if we did this or what if we did that, and give me 3 of these and 5 of those? You'd be amazed how many fresh creative directions pop up, stuff that I had never considered. And suddenly you're not just thinking outside the box, ladies and gentlemen, you're building new boxes to play in. I want you to think about that. Like you're building your own new boxes to play in. And here's the beauty of it. It's still human powered. Created, like the creativity, your human powered creativity is driving the bus. It's like putting you down in the direction you want to go. AI is just assisting you by giving you more tools to work with. You're the one who decides what feels right. You're the one that decides what resonates with your audience. You're the one that, hey, this is gold. It aligns with the brand. Let's move forward. The AI is to spark the new idea, to help you see the patterns in the data or the creativity that you're trying to do, even streamline like time-consuming tasks along the process of being creative. And by the way, I positioned this as creative, like art, design, but it could be around storytelling in the content creation process, like, or the big picture strategy of ideation around the actual campaign that you're building. So today's takeaway is this: don't see AI as a creativity killer, see it as a creativity multiplier. It's like having an idea machine on standby, ready to fuel your next campaign, your next design, you're still the artist. AI is
Yep.
just the brush that helps you paint with even more vibrant colors. Let me expand that. You're still the storyteller. AI is just the pen that helps you craft even more powerful narratives. Let me keep going. You're still the composer. AI is just the instrument that helps you create even more harmonious melodies. You're still the visionary. AI is just the lens that helps you capture even more vivid moments. Photographers, you're still the architect. AI is just the blueprint that helps you build even more imaginative creations. You're still the humans. It's still the assistant in your creativity. That's the skill of the day, gentlemen.
I'm so glad you paid that off with you're still the humans. And
Yes, sir.
not gonna get to show anything today, so I'm just gonna go right into my thoughts on what you guys have been talking about.
Yeah, I'm
When
gonna
you
drop
started
something in the channel. Keep
out,
going.
Nico, with a small select group of people knew this thing about how to diagnose stuff based on looking at people's tongues. Like, so much of our dysfunction, and whether it's human to humans on a personal level or in business, talk about this knowledge and skills gap constantly. It comes from a place of, I know something and you don't, or you know something and I don't, or we versus them, and all these gaps that just create space for dysfunction and also profitability, and being more successful than the next person. So just imagine a world where, when all of our brains, no matter what, are designed for creativity, we are at our least creative when we're trying to close that gap, specifically, in my opinion, where I'm trying to figure out something that is common knowledge that I don't understand, or I see you do something, I want to learn how to do it. It's like a how to. I need to figure out A plus B equals C when everybody else already knows it, right? Now
Mhm.
imagine when we all have perfect information and we're all imagining things and being creative, because we don't have to spend time on the how to's. And what'll be interesting is seeing how we evolve under that guise, where do we have to build troubleshooting, like do we have to know how to troubleshoot, right?
Mhm.
And we start talking about critical thinking skills, and all these things that we have seen kind of go down as technology has become a thing. Like, have you ever tested it before, like where I try to go to the store and tell myself I'm not going to Google anything, like
Oh,
while I'm
good
in the
luck.
store? Like,
Good
it's
luck.
within a couple minutes I'm grabbing for the phone because I want to look something up, right?
Mhm.
And I can't, and it's horrifying. Like, it's like, oh my god, I don't know something right now and it's killing me. But I think that when we talk about how detrimental this knowledge and skills gap can be, this kind of stuff, like, the last thing we should do is fear that, because if we are in the less than place because we don't know something, we won't have to be, right? And we don't deserve to be, as humans. And that's going to be a beautiful thing when everybody is thinking, at this level of what could be, instead of trying to figure out what is.
Mm. Is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
possible? Like what that I always am asking myself, like, is it possible? What if? And that's right now where we're at. It's such a powerful time because a lot of the historical is it possibles is like, hell yeah, it's possible.
I mean, that's the direction that we need to go in. It's very obvious to me. If I'm just gonna play this out really quick because I know we don't have time to cover it all, but I know this is all really crazy, but just bear with me and believe me when I say that all of this stuff is true. I don't make any of this stuff up. I don't have the time to because I need all that time to try to consume this information. There's a model that has 100% accuracy. It's been verified by OpenAI and Anthropic, which means that very soon we'll have a 100% accurate model dripping down into our hands. At which point, once you trust the accuracy of the model, nobody walks away from it. It instantly becomes the language model is always right. Okay, move forward from there. We're already in the age of reasoning. We're moving into the age of agents. So eventually we're going to have agentic reasoning with 100% accuracy. The 100% accuracy is needed for agentic reasoning. Otherwise, we can't build agentic systems because you're not going to be able to do that if you can't trust what the output is going to be. So now that we got to that point, we also at the same time simultaneously have Figure One and probably a dozen other companies building humanoid robots. Figure One already has robots working in BMW's factories. I think they're soon to be shipping out to Mercedes factories as well. The founder is looking to ship billions of these robots on an annual basis in the next couple of years. Elon Musk said the same thing that I thought, which was, okay, well, robots plus refuelable rocket ships equals the beginning of colonizing Mars. So if you want to talk about like where I see things going in like the future of humanity, I see the possibility of us beginning to reach that sort of Star Trek point. And there are some discussions. I just linked one in our awesome AI chat. There are some discussions. Elon is talking about it, but there are some other Harvard researchers and scientists talking about it, where we're going to eventually rip with this as best you can. As much as you think that it's scary that you may lose your job to automation or lose your job to AI, we will eventually be living in a world where money isn't going to be the driver, but productivity is. Okay, and what's the difference? Contribution, I'm sorry. So what's the difference between the two? Productivity is what you do now. You're paid based on what you can produce for another person or produce for your company. Soon it's going to be a matter of what can you contribute to humanity directly by way of content. So what are you giving to the system that gives back to other people, that enables other people, right? Whether that be intelligence, whether that be, and we say intelligent, well, if we're going to have this super intelligent system, how could we possibly be smarter? There's going to become a point where like humanity just kind of does that. It's going to take quite some time until even a super intelligent model can do the same sort of abstract reasoning that humans can. That's the one thing, the one leg up that we have is that we can think abstractly, and these models cannot. They can't like do things without reasoning. They have to have reasoning behind it. Whereas we can just boop to whatever. We'll say, yeah, okay, waffles and ketchup. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Like
We
the
are
model
so good
can't
at
do
being
that.
Peanut butter and
irrational.
pickles. Let's go.
You know, pineapple on pizza. What are you gonna do?
Yep. Here's the thing, and then we probably need to close out. But it's funny because Nico, when you started to talk about that, this world of what can you contribute, what intelligence
I
can you
saw the
bring to the
gears
world,
working.
what content, I'm like, yes, bring it. Like I've been doing it for years. Like,
Right.
let's go. Like, so you're one of two people. You're sitting there listening to that, going, "Oh God." Or you're like me and you're like, let's roll. If you're sitting here and you're like having that oh God moment, it's time to start paying attention to the skills that pay the bills in the future and start transforming yourself into this person who is understanding of the humanness that you have and the human power that you bring to the AI assistants that you can now bring along for the ride. I beg you to start to transform yourself into this person that will thrive in the future that Nico just talked about.
And we beg you to wake up with AI. Have a great day, everybody.